to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
One thing that we know for certain is that Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski will be reuniting in Tampa Bay. Now,
Let's talk about it.
So let's look at this offense. We got O.J. Howard. We got Mike Evans. I'm just going to mention Rob Gronkowski. And now we got Tom Brady.
Godwin. Don't forget about Godwin.
We got Godwin, too. So we're looking at how this team is set up offensively. How lethal can this offense be?
Again, I'm going to drop it back for you. You can get the shiniest and prettiest fucking car there is. But if you ain't got the engine in that motherfucker that makes that bitch go vroom vroom, it ain't going to do shit. Because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you. Because Jameis Winston gets a lot of shit. They got his 30 for 30 commercial fucking meme and all that shit. It's funny. We get it. But homeboy got some fucking talent. He's a gunslinger. He got power. He's got accuracy.
Yeah, he'd be a gunslinger for the other team.
He makes good reads. I mean, that's part of the jokes. You know, he's the only quarterback that can get you in the game and take you out of it at the same time. You know, it's funny. But if you put him, like, for instance, I think the Saints just signed him. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's starting, obviously. But if Drew Brees is to retire this year and he sits behind Drew Brees, I can guarantee Jameis Winston may or may not come out next year, and he may not look like he did in Tampa Bay. Because Tampa Bay, they can say what they want about that fucking dude that came from New England. That dude ain't shit. He called them stupid fucking plays. He had that dude running for his life the whole fucking time. What did they do to get Tom Brady protection? Because they couldn't protect a faster guy that got out the pocket. You still need time to throw to these motherfuckers.
Right.
It don't make a difference. Where's your run game? Where's your run game? Who's protecting them? What, are you going to throw 50 times a game? That's not Tom Brady's style. So, here's the thing. Do I think that Tampa Bay is going to, go up and incline? They're going to incline? I do. Do I think they're making the Super Bowl because they got Tom Brady? I don't. They might not make the playoffs. So you bring a retired tight end in there and everybody's fucking ranting and raving? What's he going to do?
Can he stay healthy is what I'm asking. Can he stay healthy?
Did you just see him on WrestleMania? He looks stiff as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, you've been retired for 2 years and you didn't look very good in your last season. That's why you fucking retired. You're injury prone like shit. I get it. I get the allure. Don't get me wrong. I get the allure. But if I was Tom Brady, Tampa Bay might not have been the place for me to go. LA Chargers, that might have been the place for me to go. Indianapolis Colts, that might have been the place for me to go. Because they already have what you need. I'm not saying that Tampa Bay ain't got a loaded fucking gun, because they do.
Right.
But what happens when your fucking chamber backfires on you? Them bullets ain't shooting straight. So unless you can get your line fixed, unless you can get some kind of established run game, unless you can build a real scheme behind him, which, let's be honest, with all this COVID shit going on, how much scheming are they doing?
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? What exactly are they doing to get themselves in position to be this big thing coming up? They're not. So, we're going.
Yeah, I definitely get it.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. I will say this though. As a Drew Brees fan, I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait to see the clash, man. I cannot wait to see the clash.
That clash is going to be different. So, let me ask you this, man. We know we're kind of concerned about Gronk, and we don't know if he's going to stay healthy. We know how injury prone he can be. Now,
let me ask you a question before we get into it.
Okay.
Because I'm honestly tired of hearing about this. Do you put Gronk as your greatest tight end ever?
He would be up there, but he wouldn't be number one.
Okay, I want you to tell me why you would put him. Like, what do you mean by up there? Like top 5?
couldn't. Even though he has the rings, I couldn't put him over Tony Gonzalez.
I couldn't either. I couldn't put him over Antonio Gates.
Right.
I couldn't put him over Todd Heap. Like why? Like what? Like where? Like I don't understand why he's ranked so high when everybody's because he got rings with Tom Brady.
Well, that and because he's kind of like the Shaq of the tight end position. Like it was when he was at his prime, it's hard to take him down. You got a guy who's 6'7", and he's hard to take down.
What was his prime? How many years did he play?
You talking about prime years? You talking about prime years?
I'm gonna look up to see how many years he played. And this ain't me taking nothing away from him. Gronk is a great talent.
Right.
I think he's a great tight end. But I'm tired of hearing about how he's top 3 and top 5 and all that shit. How the fuck are you top 3 and top 5 when just hold on. Go ahead and say what you said. I'm gonna look that shit up.
I mean, the way I look at it is this. I think people give him that nod because of the hardware, because of the rings. Because people remember him as being, this fun, lovable guy, but he was hard to tackle. You know, he can gouge out a defense like nothing because he's just hard to tackle. And he's so dominant. I think that's why a lot of, I look at him as like the Shaq of tight ends. Because Shaq was just dominant in basketball. Shaq was just dominant at his position because he was just a big body dude that you just couldn't move out. You just had to move out the way sometimes. And I think a lot of people feel that way about Gronk at the tight end position. At his prime. Not injury prone. I'm missing half a season Gronk. I'm not talking about that's pure. But that's just me. And I mean, there were times, in his prime when we played him, like how they were saying, watch out for Ed Reed, watch out for Ray Lewis. We were sitting on the reverse side of that. We were saying, watch out for Gronk. Because he'll gouge you to death and barely. There's some of our D-backs struggled to take him down. We sat back and had the conversations. Man, we got to watch out for Gronk. You remember him.
I'm not gonna deny you. His skill because he's definitely had skill.
Yeah.
But when you compare an 8-year career, like all right, you had a little bit more success, but you're not the reason that that success was there. They won Super Bowls without you. And then when you left, they won a Super Bowl without you. So that's my thing. Like when it comes down to it, you played for 8 years, right? I think you can sneak him into the top 10 because similarly, him and Shannon Sharp had a similar career.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think Shannon Sharp had like 10,000 yards, 69 touchdowns, 3 Super Bowl rings, 1 with us. And if you put Shannon Sharp in the conversation, you got a great comparison right there. So if you can compare Shannon Sharp and Rob Gronkowski to an 8 to 10 year career, you have to put Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates up in there, right. And Jeremy Shockey and who's the guy on I can't think of his name right this second. Dallas tight end, the guy after Jeremy Shockey.
Jason Witten.
You got to put Jason Witten on there. Okay, yeah, they don't have the rings, but damn, they did it at a high level for so long. Right.
Longevity definitely plays a key factor. Like you can't just have the hardware when you talk about the tight end position, because if we have seen players not be that great, but they got a lot of hardware. Because they just were in the right place.
I think he's a great player, but I like when people start throwing him up in there in the top 3 and shit. Like,
well, you know why they do that, right?
I'll give you top 10.
Right.
I'll give you top 10,
But that people see that hardware and it's like, oh, you had that many rings, we're just gonna lift you up. Like they completely forget about longevity. They completely forget about the type of schemes that the tight ends were running. They completely forget about, who was the guy that revolutionized the position. You know what I mean? They forget about stuff like that, so they don't take that into account. Now, with that being said, now with Gronk and Brady on the Buccaneers, on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what does it say about his relationship with the Patriots? What does that say? Is it? I mean, because in my personal opinion,
what was going on for him to even want to leave?
that's
If
what
it was
I
that
wonder.
easy to get Gronk back, you already had you a weapon. Think about this for a second. You already had you a weapon. And if you really wanted to, you could have negotiated it. Hey, I want Gronk back. Stop trying to trade him. Because remember, that's why Gronk retired. Because they tried to trade him to, I can't remember what team. Honestly, cannot. I don't know who the fuck it was, but they tried to trade him to a bust-ass team. And he was like, haha, joke's on you. You can't trade me. I'm retired.
Right.
So if it was that easy to get Gronk back and you really needed somebody, Tom Brady could have made it happen. I don't think that it was Tom Brady. I think it was all Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's an old bitter bitch. And, you're willing to let go of your greatest dynasty of all time, dude. You won 6 Super Bowls with this man. So what? He's declining. Let him decline his ass on out of there. Let him retire where the fuck he was at. He's the GOAT. And you made it to the playoffs with him on probably his worst year. Like, let him go.
So here's the thing.
People
Have to understand this, right? Belichick tries to get you out of there early before the wheels fall off. That's just how he is. I mean, I think it's right? Who do I tell somebody? But, I mean, that's just how he is.
I get it. And Robert Kraft didn't like it. And then he kept Tom Brady. And then they won another Super Bowl together. At what point do you go, you know what? I'm old. I'm stubborn. And I just need to let it fucking go. Sean Payton has stuck by Drew Brees through rough times, great times, and even rougher times. Because let's be honest, that dude has the stats to say he should have at least 4 rings.
Right, he definitely should.
He's one of the best ever to do it. And it kills me that he don't got 2 rings. He only has 1. And Sean Payton has stuck behind that. He has restructured his team multiple times to get behind Drew Brees. And for the past 4 years, they've been the team to, how do you say it, projectively be put, is it like the projected list?
Yeah,
He's
projections.
projected to make it to the championship every year because of the team they have built. And then every year their defense fails. Or they play against Minnesota. Minnesota just got that number.
Right,
but
they just did.
And that's the crazy thing to me. Sean Payton is going to live or die behind Drew Brees. Drew Brees has had opportunities to go to other teams to where he could have shined, he could have did less work, and he could have won a Super Bowl. He would probably be a 2 to 3 time Super Bowl champion right now if he would have went to a restructured team 5 years ago with a loaded offense. Let that sink in. Imagine if Drew Brees, right? And I know I said all that shit about the curse and shit earlier, but imagine if Drew Brees went to Cleveland.
That's a nightmare for us.
That's a nightmare for anybody because of the skill and the talent around him and the fact that they do have that defense, that young defense they're not paying yet, that young offense that's still on that surface.
Trying to figure itself out.
Yeah, imagine if you had a guy like Drew Brees there, or like you said, Aaron Rodgers. That's somewhere that you can go, you can shine, and you can build, and you can fly. That'd be saying something crazy about us. But I'm gonna leave it there, man.
Yeah,
Tom Brady,
man.
Tom Brady and Belichick. I think they still have a manageable relationship. I just think that it's. I don't think it's as good. I don't think it's as good as a lot of people would have thought it would have been over the years, winning 6 Super Bowls. Because if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm letting it go. I'm dying with Tom Brady. I'm not. Or even worse, I got a better idea for you, you old bitter bitch. Why don't you draft the successor and let him sit behind the GOAT? Let him learn from the GOAT when the GOAT is ready to go. You know what I mean?